For more than a year now, across thousands of miles and all 50 states, tens of millions of Americans have made their voices heard. They have stood in long lines, knocked on doors, organized their communities, and proven once again that the heart of this country beats strongest when its people participate in democracy. Today, I want to add my voice to theirs. I want to congratulate Hillary Clinton on making history as the presumptive Democratic nominee for President of the United States. This moment is not just about one campaign or one party. It is about the millions of people who believe their voices mattered and who showed up to make a difference for more than a year now. Across thousands of miles in all 50 states, tens of millions of Americans have made their voices heard. They showed up in record numbers. They knocked on doors in the rain and the heat. They stayed up late making phone calls, organizing rallies, and talking with neighbors about the future they wanted for their families. They stood in long lines at polling stations because they believed that their voices mattered. And that is something worth celebrating, because that is what democracy looks like. It is not always quiet or simple. It is not always polite or comfortable. Sometimes it is loud, sometimes it is messy, sometimes it is passionate and even painful. But at its best, it is powered by people who care deeply about their country and refuse to sit on the sidelines. Over the past months, we have seen people who had never voted before walk into a polling place for the first time. We have seen young people organize in ways that reminded us of the great movements that shaped this nation. We have seen workers, parents, students, and retirees all come together to debate, to argue, and to dream about what America could be. That is the strength of this country, not just in our institutions, but in our people. Now, I know that hard-fought campaigns can sometimes leave us feeling divided. When the stakes are high and the choices feel deeply personal, it is natural for emotions to run strong. But let's remember something important. The very fact that so many people participated, so many voices were heard, and so many ideas were debated, means our democracy is alive and well. Every person who volunteered, every person who donated $5, every person who stood up and spoke out about the issues they care about, they were not just supporting a campaign, they were strengthening the foundation of this country. They were proving that the American spirit is still fueled by hope, by determination, and by the belief that tomorrow can be better than today. And here's the truth. Progress has never come from silence. It has never come from people sitting quietly and accepting the world as it is. Progress has always come from people who were willing to speak up, to challenge the system, and to push this country closer to its ideals. Think about the movements that shaped our history. The fight for civil rights, the struggle for women's equality, the voices that demanded fair wages and safe workplaces. None of those victories came easily. They came because people disagreed, debated, organized, and ultimately came together around a shared purpose. That is the tradition we are part of today. We may have had different candidates. We may have had different ideas about the best path forward. But we were all motivated by the same basic belief, that this country should work for everyone, not just a few, that every child deserves a fair shot, that every family deserves dignity and opportunity, that our democracy is stronger when everyone has a seat at the table. So this moment is not about looking back at who supported whom. It is about looking forward together. It is about recognizing that the energy, the passion, and the ideas that came from this campaign are not something to be set aside. They are something to be embraced, because when we come together, when we listen to one another, when we respect the voices of all Americans, we are unstoppable. Our diversity becomes our strength. Our disagreements become the fuel for better ideas, and our shared values become the foundation for real progress. This is the time to turn passion into purpose. This is the time to take the energy from this campaign and channel it into building a future that reflects the hopes of all our people. Not just some of them, not just the loudest voices, but every voice, from every corner of this nation. Because in the end, we are not just supporters of one candidate or another. We are citizens of the same country. We share the same dreams for our children. We believe in the same promise, that if we work hard, look out for one another, and stand together, there is no challenge we cannot overcome. And when we stand united, there is nothing America cannot achieve. Now, as we move forward together, we also have to ask ourselves an important question. Who is truly prepared to carry the responsibility of this office? The presidency is not just a title. It is not just a campaign. end slogan or a moment on a debate stage. It is a job that demands judgment, experience, and the strength to make decisions when the stakes could not be higher. This is a job where every decision can affect millions of lives. It is a job that requires understanding not only the hopes of our people but also the realities of a complex and often dangerous world. It is a job that calls for steady hands, a clear mind, and a heart committed to the public good. I have spent my life in public service. I have listened to families struggling to make ends meet. I have sat with parents worried about their children's futures. I have met with leaders across the world, negotiating for peace, standing up for human rights, and representing the values that define this nation. And through all of it, I have learned one simple truth: leadership is not about being the loudest voice in the room. It is about being the most prepared. Real leadership means doing the hard work behind the scenes. It means reading the briefings late into the night. It means asking tough questions, weighing every option, and choosing the path that protects our people and upholds our values. It means knowing when to be strong, when to be compassionate, and when to bring people together. Experience matters. It matters when our economy faces uncertainty. It matters when our troops are in harm's way. It matters when families across this country are counting on their government to help them build better lives. And it matters when the world is watching to see what kind of nation we will be. I have had the honor of serving in roles that tested my judgment and my resolve. I have been in the room when critical decisions were decisions that affected our security, our alliances, and our future. I have worked with leaders from every corner of the globe, building partnerships and standing firm when our principles were challenged. I have seen firsthand what it takes to navigate crises and to keep our country safe. But beyond the meetings and the negotiations, beyond the headlines and the speeches, what has always guided me is a simple belief that public service is about people. It is about the factory worker who just wants a fair wage. It is about the teacher who stays late to help a struggling student. It is about the nurse, the farmer, the small business owner, and the young graduate stepping into the workforce for the first time. Every decision a president makes should be rooted in the question, how will this affect the lives of everyday Americans? Will it open doors of opportunity? Will it make families more secure? Will it give the next generation a better chance than the one before? That is the kind of leadership this moment requires. Not leadership driven by anger or fear, but leadership grounded in knowledge, experience, and a deep respect for the people we serve. Leadership that understands the weight of the decisions ahead and is ready to carry that responsibility from the very first day. Because the presidency is not an entry-level job. It is a position that demands preparation, resilience, and the wisdom that comes from years of service and hard-earned experience. And at this moment in our history, we cannot afford to learn on the job. We need leadership that is ready on day one, leadership that knows the challenges ahead, and leadership that has the courage and the compassion to meet them. Because when experience meets determination and preparation meets purpose, our country moves forward with strength and confidence. And at the heart of everything we do, at the heart of every policy, every debate, and every decision, there is one simple purpose: fighting for the everyday Americans who make this country what it is. Because when you strip away the speeches and the slogans, politics should not be about power. It should be about people. It should be about the families who wake up early every morning, work hard, and still wonder if they are getting ahead. It should be about the parents who lie awake at night, worrying about how they will afford college tuition or a doctor's bill. It should be about the young person with big dreams and real talent who just needs a fair chance to turn those dreams into reality. For too many people, that fair chance feels further away than it should. Wages have not kept up with the cost of living. Good jobs are harder to find. Healthcare costs stretch family budgets. And too often, the system seems to reward those at the very top while leaving everyone else to struggle. That is not the promise of America. The promise of America has always been simple but powerful. If you work hard, play by the rules, and look out for one another, you should be able to build a good life for yourself and your family. You should be able to send your children to good schools. You should be able to see a doctor without fear of bankruptcy. You should be able to retire with dignity after a lifetime of work. That promise is worth fighting for. It means raising wages so that hard work is rewarded. It means making education affordable, from pre-school all the way through college and job training. It means ensuring that healthcare is a right, not a privilege. It means supporting small businesses because they are the engines of opportunity in our communities. And it means building an economy that works for everyone, not just those at the top. I have met workers who lost their jobs when factories closed and towns were left behind. I have met young people carrying student debt heavier than any generation before them. I have met parents who skip their own doctor's appointments so they can afford care for their children. These are not statistics. These are our neighbors, our friends, and our families. And they deserve a government that sees them, hears them, and fights for them every single day. Economic fairness is not just a policy goal. It is a moral commitment. It is about making sure that opportunity is not reserved for the few, but shared by the many. It is about creating an economy where innovation is rewarded, where hard work is respected, and where success is possible no matter where you come from. This is also about equality in all its forms. It is about equal pay for women. It is about protecting the rights and dignity of every citizen. It is about making sure that your background, your zip code, or the color of your skin does not determine your future. When we invest in our people, we invest in the strength of our nation. When we give every child a good education, we build a smarter, more competitive economy. When we ensure that workers are treated fairly, we build stronger communities. When we make healthcare accessible, we build a healthier and more productive country. That is the kind of future we can and create together. But it will not happen on its own. It requires determination, it requires courage, and it requires a government that is willing to stand up to powerful interests and say that the needs of the many must come before the profits of the few. Because this country has never moved forward by leaving people behind. We have always moved forward when we lifted one another up, when we built roads and schools, when we protected workers and expanded opportunity, when we believed that everyone deserved a fair shot. And that belief, that commitment to fairness and opportunity, is what will guide us forward, because when every American has a chance to succeed, our nation becomes stronger than ever before. What truly brings us together, though, goes deeper than any one campaign or any one moment in history. It is the set of values we carry with us, the beliefs that define who we are as a people and what we expect from one another. Those values are not owned by one person or one party. They belong to the American story itself. We believe in hope, even when the road ahead looks uncertain. We believe in compassion, especially for those who are struggling. We believe in fairness because we know that opportunity should never depend on where you were born or who your parents are. And we believe in strength, not the kind that comes from fear or anger, but the kind that comes from unity, from courage, and from a shared sense of purpose. These values are what have carried this nation through its most difficult moments. They carried us through times of war and economic hardship. They carried us through the long fight for civil rights and the struggle for equality. They carried us forward when the path was unclear, and they reminded us that progress is always possible when we stand together. Think about what it means to live in a country built on the idea that all people are created equal. That idea has never been easy to live up to. It has required courage from generation after generation. It has required people to speak out, to organize, to vote, and to demand that the country live up to its own ideals. But that is also what makes this nation so extraordinary. We are constantly striving to become a better version of ourselves. We are always reaching toward a more perfect union. And every time we take a step forward, whether it is expanding voting rights, opening doors of opportunity, or standing up for those who have been left out, we prove that those shared values are stronger than any division. Our strength as a nation has never come from sameness. It has come from our diversity, from the different cultures, faiths, backgrounds, and experiences that make up the American family. Each of those voices adds something valuable. Each of them helps shape the story of this country. And when we listen to one another, when we respect one another, when we choose understanding over fear, we grow stronger. We build communities that are more resilient, more creative, and more compassionate. We create a country where everyone feels that they belong. That sense of belonging is at the heart of what it means to be American. It means knowing that no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, you are part of something bigger than yourself. It means knowing that your voice matters, that your dreams matter, and that your future matters. It also means looking for one another. It means recognizing that we rise or fall together. When one community is left behind, the whole nation feels the impact. But when we lift each other up, when we invest in our people, when we extend a helping hand instead of turning away, we all move forward. These are not just political ideals, they are moral principles. They are the quiet acts of kindness between neighbors. They are the teachers who stay late to help a struggling student. They are the volunteers who rebuild homes after disasters. They are the workers who take pride in what they do, and the families who support one another through good times and bad. That is the America we believe in, an America that is hopeful, an America that is big-hearted, an America that is strong and fair, an America where every child, no matter their background, has the same chance to succeed. Those are the values that unite us. Those are the values that define us. And those are the values that will carry us forward into the future we are determined to build together. Now the time has come to look ahead, to lift our eyes beyond the noise of the campaign, beyond the arguments and the headlines, and focus on the future we want to build together. Because elections are not just about choosing leaders. They are about choosing a direction. They are about deciding what kind of country we want to be, not just today, but for generations to come. Every generation of Americans has faced its own set of challenges. Some faced war, some faced economic collapse, others faced the long, difficult fight for civil rights and equality. And in every one of those moments, people had a choice. They could give in to fear and division, or they could come together and build something better. Time and again, Americans chose to move forward. They chose progress over despair. They chose cooperation over conflict. They chose hope over fear. And because of those choices, we live in a country that is stronger, freer, and more prosperous than the one they inherited. Now it is our turn. We stand at a moment of great possibility. Technology is transforming how we live and work. New industries are being born. New ideas are changing the way we solve problems. And around the world, people still look to this country as a symbol of opportunity and freedom. But we also face serious challenges. Too many families feel left behind by an economy that seems to favor the few. Too many communities are struggling with the effects of poverty, addiction, and lack of opportunity. Too many young people are worried about whether they will be able to build the kind of life their parents and grandparents once took for granted. These challenges are real, but so is our capacity to overcome them. If we come together, if we focus on what unites us instead of what divides us, there is no limit to what we can achieve. We can build an economy where hard work is rewarded and innovation thrives. We can invest in education so that every child has the tools to succeed. We can make our communities safer, our environment cleaner, and our future more secure. But none of that will happen by accident. Progress is not something that simply appears on its own. It is built by people who care enough to act, by citizens who vote, who volunteer, who speak up for what they believe in, by leaders who are willing to listen, to learn, and to work with others for the common good. This is not a moment for cynicism. It is not a moment to turn away from one another or to retreat into our corners. This is a moment to stand shoulder to shoulder, to remember what we share, and to move forward with determination and confidence. Because when we look at the history of this country, we see a pattern. Every time we have been tested, we have emerged stronger. Every time the future seemed uncertain, we found a way to rise above our challenges. Not because it was easy, but because we believed in each other and in the promise of this nation. That promise still lives in the dreams of our children. It lives in the determination of workers who refuse to give up. It lives in the communities that support one another through hardship. And it lives in every citizen who believes that tomorrow can be better than today. So let us go forward together, with hope in our hearts, with purpose in our actions, and with the unshakable belief that the best days of this country are still ahead of us. Because if we stand united in common effort, we will not only win the challenges of today, we will build the brighter future this nation deserves.